Okay, we're going to look at this last example, number 10. And when I give a problem like this that looks kind of complicated or has a lot of parentheses, a lot of times my students just get really overwhelmed and look at the whole thing and don't even know where to start. And so my advice is always to start piece by piece and not look at the big picture and get overwhelmed. And order of operations says we need to look at the inside parentheses and work our way out. So I'm going to look at this inside parentheses right here and ignore everything else for a second. And this says 2 plus r. And these are not like terms, so I can't combine them. So I'm going to go one step out and go to this negative sign, which remember we also said is just like a -1. And I'm going to need to distribute this negative sign through my parentheses. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite everything else, and I'm not going to change it, but I am going to distribute that negative sign. So just rewrite this. Don't even think about what this is saying to do right now. Okay, and right now I'm at the negative sign, so I'm going to distribute -1 times 2 is -2, and -1 times r is -r. And now let's make sure I can get the same number of parentheses I need. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've closed all of the parentheses I have. Equals 1. Okay, so now I'm going to look inside this first set of parentheses again. So I'm going to ignore, let's change this color. I'm going to ignore everything else and I'm just going to look right here inside the parentheses, and I have it like terms, a 2 minus 2, which I can combine. And 2 minus 2 is 0, so these are going to go away because they cancel each other out. So I'm going to just rewrite everything else. I'm going to have 2 plus 2 minus 2. I could say plus and -r, or just leave it simpler, minus r. And now I need to close my parentheses. 1, 2, 3 parentheses now equals 1. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Let's go to a new color. And inside my parentheses here, no like terms, so I'm going to have to do the same thing again. I have a negative outside my parentheses, and I'm going to need to distribute it through the parentheses. So again, rewrite everything else. 2 plus 2. Now I'm going to distribute. -1 times 2 is -2. -1 times -r is a positive r. And now I have 2 parentheses I need to close. Equals 1. Okay, so then the last, or not the last thing, but the next thing is I have like terms inside this parentheses. 2 minus 2, those combine to be 0, so those are going to cancel out. So I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to have 2 plus this r. And you can keep it in parentheses, but you don't need to because you don't really have anything left to do. There's no like terms. There's no more negatives to distribute. So I have just 2 plus r equals 1. And at this stage, I now want to solve for r. So I'm going to take the number in front, or the term in front, which is a positive 2, and I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides to get r by itself. So remember, these cancel. Bring down the r, and I get 1 minus 2 is -1. So we've solved for r. R is -1. Okay, so if you take it step by step, it's not too bad. Now, if I wanted to go check to make sure I did this right, you could plug in -1 up here for r and just double check your math to make sure this will all add up to be 1, which is what you have on the right-hand side. And this will work.